If you're struggling with a lack of mobility, or you're struggling with pain, instability or weakness in the shoulders, this video is for you, because today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to test your mobility in the shoulders, how to test your own stability in your shoulders, and then I'm going to take you through some exercises to help fix these problems and stop it affecting your golf. So our ability to get into a good position with our shoulder in the golf swing and to be able to maintain strength and stability in the shoulders during the golf swing is super important to allowing you to play your best golf. So what we want to actually be able to do is test our current level of mobility, test our stability, and then we want to know exactly what exercises we're going to do to improve these areas. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video today. So let's first of all look at the mobility of our shoulders. And what's really important for the golf swing is our ability to externally rotate from the shoulder joint. But our shoulders should be able to do really good flexion and extension. They should be able to work across our body and open up, and they should also be able to rotate in both directions. We should have access to all of these movements in a really mobile shoulder joint. However, what quite often happens is we spend a lot of time in a seated position, a lot of time with our shoulders rounded over, a lot of time on computers, laptops, and unfortunately what happens is our shoulders get blocked and they lose movement and they lose mobility, and it affects our gym work, and it affects our golf, and it affects our day-to-day life. What also happens here is this change of position and this weakness also affects the stability of our shoulders and our ability to maintain stability through the shoulder joint, which makes us weaker and makes us less effective in the golf swing. Luckily, it's really easy for us to test some mobility and stability in our shoulders, especially in the key movements for the golf swing. So to perform this test, we're not going to need any equipment. I'll recommend you get someone to do this test for you, or you use your camera or your phone to record yourself and then look back at the results to make sure it's a fair test. But what we're going to do is we're going to start in a nice standing position. We're going to make sure we have rib cage tucked in. We're not going to allow ourselves to come into a big arched back position. We're going to keep rib cage tucked down. We're going to take our elbow, bring our elbow out to the side so that our elbow is in line with our shoulder. All we're going to do from this starting position, keeping the rib cage tucked down, nice tall posture, we're just going to see how far back we can take this arm. And what we're interested in here is we're interested in the angle of our forearm relative to the angle of our spine. So if I came back to here and then moved my spine back to try and get this arm further back, you can see that I've actually not even got my arm past my spine angle. Whereas if I can stay nice and neutral, you might find that you might be here, which would be in front of spine angle, here, which would be in line with spine angle, or you might be able to get past spine angle with the forearm as well. What we're looking for is that both shoulders, left and right, can get forearm past spine angle, or at a bare minimum can get in line with our spine angle. If you're struggling with that as a test on either side, or if you're seeing a big difference from one side to the other, then definitely you're going to need to work on your shoulder mobility to improve your external rotation of your shoulder, and chances are it's also going to be affecting your golf swing mechanics. So now we've looked at the mobility of the shoulder joint, now we need to check the stability. Now to do this, the test is very similar to the first test we performed for mobility. This time we're going to perform the test in our golf posture. So we're going to come into a golf posture. We're going to do the same test. We're going to bring one arm out to the side, and again we're just going to retest our ability to take this arm in line with our spine angle. Now if we see a severe drop in movement from the first test to the second test, then we know that we've got a change in our ability to stabilize the shoulder joint, and therefore we're lacking stability. So you might find that you've got really good mobility past the first test, but then when you get to the second test you saw a lack of movement or a reduction in movement. That means we're lacking stability. It might be that you had a lack of mobility on the first test, and then you've got an even further lack of movement in the second test, which means we're also lacking mobility and stability. Or it might be that you had a lack of mobility in the first test, but actually you got into a similar position with the second test, and therefore it's just the mobility that you're going to need to look at. So now we know what's going on. We know if we've got a lack of mobility, a lack of stability, or a lack of mobility and stability, and here are some exercises you can do to start to improve that. This first exercise is going to work both on the mobility and the stability of the shoulder joint, and all we're going to need for this is a resistance band anchored around waist height. So we're going to take the resistance band. You might have a loop band like this, or you might have an individual band, and we're going to bring the band in so we get a little bit of tension onto this band. And the movement we're going to do is we're going to take this band into a position where we open up from the elbows, open up and pull this band up towards the forehead. What we're going to do is we're going to take in our arm into this position. We're going to expose ourselves to the rotation, but we're also having to stabilize and strengthen through the back of the shoulder and through the rotation of the shoulder to also get there. So here we're going to be improving our mobility and our stability at the same time. So we're going to take the band, come into a good position, and we're going to pull this band up towards the forehead and release back down. We're going to pull the band apart as we go, pull the band open and into position. And we're trying to push ourselves all the way to this end range, creating tension all the way through. Now we can perform 3 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions here. This can either be done as part of a rehabilitation program if you really are struggling with your pain mobility or stability, or it can just be added to your normal gym routine. This next exercise is going to work specifically on the mobility of the shoulder, and for this we're going to need a tool. Here I've got a lacrosse ball. This could also be a tennis ball or a massage ball. And what we're going to do is we're going to place this ball into the back area of the shoulder, and then we're going to take our shoulder through the full range while using the ball. This is called our tack and floss routine, and it's going to help mobilize the shoulder joint and also release some of the tough tissue in the back of the shoulder. So we're going to bring the ball, we're going to place it into the back of the shoulder, and we're going to lay ourselves down on our side. From here, what we're then looking to do is start to work this arm into all the positions that it should be able to work in. So we should be able to rotate both internally and externally all the way back. And as we're doing this, we're massaging into the back of the shoulder as we take the arm through the full position. What we can also do is we can create a little bit of overpressure and just start to force this arm into a bit of a deeper position. We can move the ball around. There's loads of different areas we can start to work in. Obviously, we're going to keep control of our breath here. We're going to make sure we're breathing all the way through. And we're just going to use this to take our arm through its full range of motion. What we should see is before and after doing this exercise, we should notice a big improvement in our mobility of the shoulder joint. And then once we've done it over time, we should notice an improvement over the long term. So now we should have an ability to measure our mobility, measure our stability, and we've now got 2 exercises that we can use to improve the mobility and stability in the shoulder joint. I guarantee if you start to integrate these exercises into your routine, you're going to see an improvement in range of motion, in terms of our mobility, and also in terms of our stability and be able to stabilize the shoulder joint. And therefore, we're going to get into better positions in our golf swing and be able to maintain those positions with more consistency as well. Also, if you want to get access to loads more, hundreds and hundreds of golf mobility videos and hundreds more tests as well, then you can visit the Macro Golf app. You can download via the iOS store, or you can visit macrogolfonline.co.uk to get access to our app. If you enjoyed that video, it means a lot to me. If you can click the subscribe button, click the like button as well, that means a lot to me. Or share this video with someone that you believe is struggling with pain or restriction or immobility in their shoulders.